Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Crazy Talk. So with Thanksgiving right around the corner and a winter break soon after that, exams and finals are piling up by the dozens. Students are usually craving some sort of relaxing study time break. Some like to nap, like me personally, some like to go to the gym, like I never do, and some, like this particular Fresno State student, like to have sexual intercourse with barn animals. In what the school is now referring to as the sheep incident, a computer engineering student, damn those engineers and they're getting jobs after college, unlike us, was caught with his pants around his ankles in the barn right behind a lamb. I wonder what the sexual assault text they sent out after this one said. Weird. Disgusting. Anyway, and now, because we are running out of funds here at Crazy Talk, we're going to cut to our first ever paid commercial. Oh my God. Texting while walking is a troubling epidemic that affects hundreds of students like you and me every single day. Collisions with benches, garbage cans, cyclists, squirrels, and fellow pedestrians are completely avoidable. And we cannot stand by and let these embarrassments continue to unfold. Take a stand against reckless texting. Visit watchwhereyouwalk.com or call 1-800-LOOKOUT to learn more about this epidemic and to join the Screenless Lane campaign. Together, we can stop texting in its tracks. So, an amazing discovery was made off the coast of China recently. A fisherman caught a 56-pound tropical rock lobster. This lobster is so unique that they aren't even sure what species it is. Just that it is absolutely beautiful. Here is our resident lobster expert, Lason to explain its coloration. And let's get this lobster up on the board, please. Let's get this lobster up. Come on, Lason let's go.
Okay, so I am Lason Genhart from the Study for Mythological Creatures and Such University. What we have here is a long-lost remnant of the original rainbow lobsters. As you can see here, this is a lobster that can, in fact, think and take in fashion. The bottom of it, a sort of sea foamish green area for blending purposes only. The middle, obviously, an azul blue, because when you're swimming and you look down, that's all you will see. Now, you'll notice that the feelers are rather large, and what this lobster can in fact do is take its feeler and with sediment grounded up from, well, the ground, paint its back in a various shape of colors. This serves as camouflage and a defense mechanism because most fish that swim by and see this, and sharks, look at that and they don't understand what the heck's going on, so it's probably poisonous. Thank you.
As usual, amazing. Thanks for that, Lason. This lobster is beautiful, right? And you get to know where the lobster gets to spend the rest of its life? It doesn't. They're gonna eat it. Thanks for that, China. Why would that humans eat everything that's beautiful? Every time a human discovers something beautiful, they go, I wonder what it tastes like. Why do you think we don't have any new fairy tales anymore? Leprechauns, dragons, fairies. None of them are here anymore because we ate them or caught them, put them on display, and then ate them later. They're sick of our shit. That's why all the magic is gone in this world. We do have one specific story, though, about humans eating a beautiful species. That is the story of the unicorn. The world was a wonderful place when unicorns were still around. The unicorn used to populate the wide expanses of once fertile land of Siberia. At the height of the Tsar's regime in Russia, during the time of Rasputin Russia, in a rush to accumulate the completely insulating hide of the unicorn, as well as their horn, which was prized for its bubonic plague healing properties. They can still be seen in old German helmets that had spikes on them. The extinction occurred several years before the Bolshevik Revolution, as Tsar Nicholas killed the last one, allowing for the spread of communism, with the lack of magic in the world being the backbone of said movement. Today, we've got Nathaniel Peters on the show, here to present his thesis. Gonna be a super cool episode. Crazy Talk will be right back. Unicorn battle! Hi there, and welcome back to Crazy Talk. So we have my good friend Nathaniel Peters here with us
Hello.
to talk about something that I have no idea about. So, okay, first, tell us a little about who you are.
All right, my name's Nathaniel.
No.
Oh my God. I am a alumni now from Penn State. I graduated in May 2014 with a degree in interdisciplinary digital studios, a minor in sociology. The first one just means art on a computer, but the second one is sociology.
Okay, I didn't know you had a social minor. That's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
that happened. That happened too.
Okay, that's cool.
But,
That's interesting.
you can thank Sam Richards for that.
Yeah.
But, I want to present my thesis work today. I took something that I learned in 6th grade. It's called world building. A teacher proposed that the class design their own countries or like make their own countries, and from that we had to learn things like economics and geography.
You did this all in the 6th grade?
Yeah, it was
Went to a
great.
crazy 6th grade.
Well, actually, I'm getting to that.
State college education.
So the school that I went to, Center Learning Community Charter School, is a charter school in the Center region that caters to sort of the alternative education crowd. They don't do standardized tests. They do a lot of project-based learning, and they focus on a core technology learning education system. So whenever I was in 6th grade, we got to use computers a lot. We got to make videos, and actually at CLC, they brought in a guest speaker who did a lot of work with 3D modeling and animation. He had worked on Starship Troopers and Lord of the Rings and a lot of really cool stuff.
This kills my inner city education. Like, that's what happens when you're from
Gotta
the hood.
love the suburbs. But he actually brought some of the 3D modeling software up, and he showed us how all of the things put together create this live action creature that could move around, and he showed us all of these 3D buildings and all of the work that he had done, and I was hooked. And so that presentation was in 8th grade, but I used the country that I had made in 6th grade for my graduation project at CLC.
So you made your own country.
Well, I already had my own country.
Oh, okay.
And that's the important part. I
Wow.
already had this country that
Okay.
had like an economy and a history, and like my partner and I in the 6th grade made maps, and our ultimate project was a tourism video for the country. It was called Tropicar, plug to Colby Way. But I used Tropicar as a creative constraint to model my own military. I was 8th grade, lots of guns and stuff, and so
Of course, obviously, like any 8th grader.
Yeah, I did a 3D modeling project, and I made tanks and guns and airplanes and all the jazz, and I ended up doing a stop-motion video demonstrating some epic battle in my country's history, and that was my 8th grade project. Flash forward to me graduating from college, and I was looking for that deep inspiration, and I remembered that those two projects were some of the most engaging that I've ever had. And so I wanted to use that idea of world building, of creating your own country or world or universe to expand out and sort of share that experience with other kids. And so the Macropolis Project was born.
That's amazing. I'm like already amazed we haven't even gotten to it yet. All right, keep going.
Yeah, so basically the idea for me is that I didn't like learning until I wanted to learn something.
Absolutely.
I still don't.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I understand
So,
that wholeheartedly.
yeah. So I wanted to create a foundation for students to be motivated and then sort of sneak in the pedagogical content in between the wow, that's cool moments. And so one thing that I've noticed throughout my years on the internet is that people...
Many a year.
Yes, many a year ago. People connect to this idea of a universe. An excellent example is Harry Potter. People write things called fan fiction,
Yeah,
and it's just
I've
short
seen that.
stories
Yeah,
that
definitely.
use the constraints of the world established, the characters, the settings, and they write their own stories using it. And these are kids who maybe wouldn't have picked up, or sometimes adults, maybe wouldn't have picked up the hobby of writing. And so that world is a foundation of motivation. And so that's what I'm using here. I'm using world building techniques to facilitate creative learning experiences by intrinsically motivating the students. They don't need...
I get that completely. Like, I totally get what you're coming from.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
let's get into it.
Yeah,
I
so
wanna see.
let's jump forward a slide if we can.
Yeah, let's do one slide forward, please.
Excellent. Oh, well, there's the
Introduction.
introduction. Yes. Good.
Should we
Next
go
slide.
another slide?
Yeah.
Another slide forward. There we
All
go.
right. So the way I did this, my thing is 3D modeling. I never
Okay.
put down 3D modeling, and I was trying to figure out what can I teach? What can I teach? Oh, 3D modeling. So I went with 3D modeling, and I actually went back to CLC because Townie,
Yeah.
and
Look at that, they
I
knew you.
proposed to teach a class in the after-school program on 3D modeling, and using my world building as a foundation to motivate the kids and to help them along. I found a lot of success teaching them really advanced techniques. Like I
Yeah.
taught them some of the same ideas that my college age 3D modeling class had taught.
And this is 6th to 8th graders.
Yeah, 6th
Wow.
to 8th graders. Most of the kids were between 11 and 13. We had, I think, one 10-year-old. I don't think anybody was older than 13, though. But basically, I did the research, found out that there are actually studies that prove there is the Indiana University's High School Survey of Student Engagement, which has an
Right there.
obnoxiously long
Right
name.
there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. HC.
But
Right.
they found that 67% of the students surveyed disliked the material they were being presented in
100%,
class.
yeah.
And that blows. So I decided to try and come up with material that they would like. The hard part is everybody's different. And that's where world building comes in. You know, a world is this huge, expansive place. And so if we advance to the next slide, all right, okay. I was actually still the introduction. So let's advance to the next slide. I started to sort of define the problems that I needed to tackle. What makes kids different? What will guide their interests? And I discovered this term neurodiverse and neurotypical.
Interesting.
What's really interesting is I sort of found a deep connection with alternative education and what's called neurodiverse or neurotypical students. A neurotypical student is somebody who, within the realm that you're looking at, is psychologically normal.
Okay. So not me.
Exactly.
much.
Not me either. And
Okay.
that's something that I discovered. What I started catering to was the sort of build your own adventure story. I needed to find a way to engage students on a personal level while still being able to control the entire herd of them. You
Yeah.
know, it's like
Kinda
herding
build your own
cats.
education.
Yeah.
Herding
No.
cats. That sounds like an impossible task.
Exactly. And so whenever you get like kids who have like ADHD or bipolar or autism in the same room and you have to teach them the same subject, it becomes a borderline impossible task. So what I did was I focused on curating their educational experience instead of providing it to them. I gave them a bunch of different options or a bunch of different paths to go on, and they basically chose their own. And whenever they needed me, you know, they were intrinsically motivated to follow these topics.
Yeah.
In this case, different ways of 3D modeling. They would just come to me whenever they had a problem, but other than that, they taught themselves. So if we can go on, next slide, to the...
There we go.
Yes. So I basically broke the world down into different levels, the storied reality, pseudo-reality, and seated reality. This gets a little complicated, and I know we are running short on time, but I basically built a foundation that you can go from the ground up designing an educational project towards. So if we can go to the next slide.
Please tell me
we can
they're
actually,
funding you. Like, please tell me they're funding you already, because this is amazing.
Sadly, people don't get funded at my age and my skill level. But
I'll fund you.
what I ended up with was this world. It had a history, just like my country in Tropicar. It had a history. It had geography. It had its own lore. Tolkien called it a legendarium. It was the creative constraint that I used.
Yeah.
And if we can move on to the next slide, I focused this world on the story of the interactions between 3 different countries. You have Nova Scotia, which sort of plays the hero in my hero's journey. I just used that archetype. And then,
Hero's journey.
Yeah,
Thank you for using that. Okay.
by Psi 3 connection.
Yeah. Okay.
But, and then you have Santoli and Bravados, which sort of functioned in the same storytelling capacity that Russia and the United States, or the USSR and the United States did during the Cold War. And then Nova Scotia is sort of this like back alley country that
Good.
they're basically fighting over the land.
Okay.
And what was neat is that even though I created this world to teach students 3D modeling and give them like sci-fi constraints to start feeding all of their ideas into, I started to be able to teach them things about real life events.
I want to know, how did the kids react to this? Like, this guy.
Well, actually, if we move on to the next slide, skip this. There's cooler stuff to talk about. So
Okay.
the experience of teaching the class was actually one of the most valuable things that I've ever done. I was teaching them 3D modeling, but I basically told them, hey, you have the ability to make any object that you want. I want you to make an object that fits into this story. And then whenever you can't just say, like, I'm going to make a park bench, okay? I had them provide me with a visual reference and a written reference. So they had to imagine what their object would look like and then tell me basically why it's there. What's the informational significance of this object within the story? And that sort of forced them to be uncomfortable, and it forced them to challenge themselves to
Out of their
find something
comfort
cool.
zone.
Yeah. So one thing that was really interesting, the final project was them placing an object into this city that I had created. And it was a group of 11 boys, and instantly they were like, I want to put a tank in it. And it's like...
Did you have any girls? You had no girls?
No girls.
Oh.
Actually, I'm going to be starting the class this week again, and I'm hoping, my fingers are crossed, that we have a couple girls in
Can I
there.
come?
Yes.
Please? I'll
Just
just sit there
come
really
back to
quietly.
middle school.
Yeah, I'll just sit there like, like
The
pretzel
happiest
legs.
time of your life. But one of the most profound things, I asked them, okay, why would a tank be in this town? They had to tell me that. And they were like, well, they're fighting zombies, or they're fighting aliens, or something. And it was always the tank protecting the people of the town. And so I took that opportunity, and I sort of followed this creative tangent. And I pulled up a picture of the Tiananmen Square tank man. And suddenly the class just went quiet. And they're like, is he holding a gun? And I was like, no, those are shopping bags. And they're like, well, what's going on? And I explained to them the complex situation of, this is the government moving against the people.
Yeah.
And
Minds
for the first time, they all have laptops. For the first time in the entire class, I had a bunch of preteens who weren't looking at their laptops without being like bribed to look up at the screen. They were all looking at the screen. And whenever we started going back to like the freeform 3D modeling, one of the kids had the Wikipedia page of Tiananmen Square pulled up behind the program we were using, and I saw him like hide it, and I was like, no.
That's
If you,
okay,
if you want to learn, be my guest.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of those experiences, and what was really interesting, even with the first, if we can advance the slide, even with the first thing that we looked at, this picture was one of the first projects. The kid just wanted to make a spaceship, but he told me, he was really excited. He's like,
from Star Wars?
Yeah, he came up to me and he's like, this is from Star Wars. And he started explaining to me how this fit into the world of Star Wars. And this was even before I had introduced the world building concept.
Oh my Lord.
So it was A, really exciting because it was like, I'm right. And B, it was really exciting because it's like, wow, he actually did this.
And he cared.
Made this. And I hadn't taught him anything by this point. I had just introduced them to the program. I was like, this is how you open it. This is how you rotate a square. And he comes up with this, and he's like, this is from Star Wars. This is where Princess Leia sits, and these are where the Jedis are. And it's a fascinating thing, seeing kids learn whenever they want to learn.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Is that
And then
some more? I'm excited.
Yeah. So if we roll through here, you can actually see the work that they started doing in the first week.
Next slide.
Next slide.
There we go.
So this is the work in the first week. You have the classic light bulb. This was a volcano that started exploding and was going to wipe out these towns. These two are a little dark, but those are both spaceships. However, what was really interesting is the work that they ended up giving me at the end of the project. So if we can go to the next slide. This is all of these were made by students who are 11 to 13. These are some really advanced effects. They have some atmospheric glows. He modeled all of this. These were the objects that they chose to place inside the city. This one was my favorite. He gave me this plane that looked very basic until he showed me what was inside, and he had gone through and he modeled every single chair, and he had a water cooler for the pilots, and then this was the what's it called? The landing place. Airport.
The landing strip, airport.
Yeah.
Airport.
Headquarters, I don't know. Ground control, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Those are all computers that he modeled.
Wow.
And you can't see it on this image, but they
When
all
you're
have...
as close as me, you can see it,
Yeah,
yeah.
they all have
No, I
keyboards
see
and mice.
them. I see them. Yeah, mice.
Yeah, no, it's
Oh my
ridiculous.
God,
And he was really proud of this. And he's like, I modeled all of these, and like this is where the people sit. And he was telling me the story of the work he had done. And that was just a really special moment.
That's beautiful. Like, everything about it. From that actually being beautiful to just the story. Oh my God. I'm like mind blown.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm going back. I'm doing another month of after school classes at CLC, and then I'm hoping to get the thesis book published. This is a 60-page report detailing all of my research and everything. I'm hoping to get that printed at some point in time. I'm not sure if a Kickstarter is the way to go or some other means.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So can you just tell us, so we have our viewers, can they see the website and everything else you have set up if they want to find out more about it?
Yeah, so if you ever want to download the PDF, it's up for free. It's at atruthinmovement.com. That's my personal website. You can also check out my design work there. But yeah, you can download it. You can, I mean, if you download it and use it in a classroom or use it in any capacity, please let me know. I always love people using my work, and there's a lot of really amazing work from my students in there. Camera's switching. I can't even keep track.
The tally lights keep going. Don't worry about it.
But that would be fantastic if somebody actually used it in the classroom. And past that, I'm just going to keep trying to expand the book and
keep going.
Yeah, and keep going.
Well, I'm going to be in touch with you about this because, as you know, I have another group of kiddies to teach next semester that I told you about. So start using some of this stuff. It's
all right.
Great. But thank you so much for coming. This is amazing, and I'm flabbergasted and speechless. It's really hard to get me speechless, and you know that firsthand. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Incredible. Amazing. Okay, so crazy talk. We'll be right back then, I guess.
She go, now watch me flow.